All right, welcome everybody. This week we're going to talk about enclosed landscape trailers. I'm going to kind of go through why I think it's such a profitable investment for a business, and we're just going to talk about the impact that it actually has on the business financially, and I think just from a cultural perspective, just how important it is to be organized as a company. So, enclosed landscape trailers, ultimately, why do I think it's just sort of a simple decision in terms of the financial side? I could, kind of go on and on and on, but in its most simplest terms, I just look at things like this. I just kind of look at like what would it cost to lease a trailer, even if you don't have the money sitting around right now to just go buy one. What would it actually cost just to go lease one and outfit it with the basics for shelving and whatnot? I think you could easily lease a nice covered trailer for less than $400 a month. So I'm just simply putting 400 here as a guide. If you could save one labor hour per day or 20 labor hours in a month, that at even a revenue hour of $100 per hour, which is pretty standard in the industry, we'd be looking at like a $2,000 a month opportunity in additional revenue. So I always try to look at, if I spend this money, how much extra revenue am I going to get? And again, there's so many more benefits than this one labor hour saved per day. In fact, I think it's a lot more than one labor hour per day. I just like to boil things down to the most simplest view and say, even if this is all I could save, is just 1 hour per day, this investment makes sense to me. And so this is like just simple thinking, very, very simple thinking. There's way more that I could consider when making this decision. And that's what I'm going to kind of talk about next. But I kind of sometimes like to just start with like the very, very basics and then kind of work up from there. Now, if I think about it, all the other impacts are where it really makes it like a great decision. Protection from the elements. When I've got all of my equipment all tied up and nice and neat inside of a trailer, I don't have to deal with all of the concerns about whether it's parked overnight, whether it's in transit. I don't have to worry about dirt and dust and water getting into things that it shouldn't. And then, obviously in other seasons, I got to think about things like, salt, things like that. Have I got salt spray getting all over my equipment? If I've got materials that I want to put in the trailer, particularly plants, I want to always be thinking like, hey, how much damage do I have when I'm throwing them in an open trailer or in the back of a truck versus, putting them in the covered trailer? And then, obviously we've got lots of other things like crew comfort. When we go to get out of the rain on a job site, there's just so many little things that kind of come up when I think about elements. Theft protection is a huge one. When your crew is in the backyard working, everything's in a locked, enclosed trailer. That's a big difference in itself. It's sad, but it happens all the time where the crew is in the back working and somebody stops and takes your backpack blower or your trimmer or sometimes even bigger things because there isn't anybody around with eyes on it. And so I think from a theft prevention, there's an enormous opportunity. And particularly this day and age with insurance being the way it is, in most cases, we've got some pretty big issues here in the sense that like the insurance doesn't really kick in on the first $5,000. So when you're losing all these small items, it's just coming right out of pocket. And so it doesn't really take too long to pay for a trailer when you just start to think about theft. So another piece of that equation. Mobile advertising. You cannot do a better job at mobile advertising than a covered trailer. Let's face it, job site signs and signage on pickup trucks is not as big and it's not as prominent. And when you're in a neighborhood and you're working in that neighborhood consistently and they're seeing that big, beautiful trailer rolling by with all of your branding on it day after day, they start to become aware of your brand. And so I think that's a huge opportunity. when it comes to like day-to-day operations, I can't say enough about having all the space and having a space for everything. And I'll talk more about this a little bit later, but when we've got a covered trailer, we've got this opportunity to actually use the wall space. And in most companies that are operating out of pickup trucks or flatbed trailers, there's just no wall space. And so what happens is we end up stacking things on top of other things, and we damage things. We don't have enough inventory, so we don't have what we need. We run out of fuel, and we don't have the mixed fuel, like in this picture. There's just so many different things. But it gives us the opportunity to have a little workbench, to have basic repair tools and basic consumables. It gives us an opportunity to really kind of, stock the little parts and pieces that we may need on job sites as well. Any little replacement things that we might be doing on service work or on install crews, all the nails and screws and parts and pieces that we often forget back at the shop, or, have to leave the job site to head over to Home Depot. And as you build these trailers out, this is a picture of one of my trailers. When you're building these trailers out, you can really get really specific to the crew, but you can also create some consistency if you've got multiple crews where certain things go in the same places in every trailer, which makes it nice and easy for people to kind of work on different crews, particularly apprentices. But we get this opportunity to build consistency in the way that we do things. And so you can see here off to the left, there's a place in this trailer for the paperwork. And so as the receipts are coming in on job sites, we're filing them. So we actually have built a little bit of an office here. We've got our safety wall. We've got a whiteboard on the wall where we can record what materials we might be running short on, or even create a goals for the day or plans for the day. And so you can kind of build yourself an office, a workshop, and store all of your tools when you've got a covered trailer. And I think that's pretty important because, these are remote. It's a remote workforce, right? And as part of what we do, there is a little bit of office work, there's a little bit of repair work, and there's, obviously a need to carry lots of product and always lots of tools. And so without having a covered trailer, we just don't have a way of doing that really effectively. As we look at, loading and unloading, this is where, when I say 1 hour, 1 labor hour per day, this is, the guaranteed place that we're going to get that hour, is the time that it takes to go and put all of the equipment in the shop and out of the shop every day when you've got those open deck trailers. With a covered trailer, everything's going to stay inside every night, and it just eliminates the time to load and unload. And so that, in its most basic form, usually makes the covered trailer a good investment. The best part, I think, though, is the ability to really customize it based on what each crew does. And so I think when you've got the wall space in the trailer, and when you can design hooks and shelves and a place for everything, it's kind of a game changer in many ways. It's, first off, this allows you to train your staff to do things the right way every time, but it also allows you to visually see what's missing. And I think that's a pretty big, important component. You can imagine if this crew is leaving with a trailer like this, if they didn't have enough trimmers or they didn't have enough blowers, they'd know. And, there's probably some redundancy here, which is also great, because with all that wall space, we can bring a couple of extra trimmers. And then if we do have a problem throughout the day, we've got a spare. And the cost of returning to the shop or going to a repair place, just once or twice a month is often, more than the cost of having those redundant pieces of equipment there for backups. And so I just think that when you've got the trailer, you can really customize it. You can see what's there. You can see what's missing. And I think you just build culture. You build this culture of continuous improvement, a culture of excellence. And I think you build a culture where people know that they're going to be held accountable to having a really neat and tidy workspace. And I'll talk more about that a little bit further as we go. This 5S piece is what I want to really kind of focus on. 5S is nothing more than a procedure to kind of maintain organization in the workplace. And covered trailers, I think, are one of the key components to a 5S system. Now, 5S, what is it? Ultimately, 5S is just a system to organize the workplace. Oh, Brian, there you are. Good. I invited I invited a guest on here this week to join me in talking about all the value of covered trailers, and I thought I'd invite Brian Fullerton on this week's episode to talk about this. He'd definitely have lots to add. He's an equipment guru. He's got a huge following. Lots of people lean on Brian for advice on these topics. So I thought he'd be a great add here today. And yes, he's in Florida by the looks of things.
Hey, I'm just trying to catch up to you, Mark. We are sitting poolside. It's sunny and 60 degrees, living the dream. We've got about another week down here after this, and then we're back to basically what will be the spring rush for us back in Michigan. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to say hey. And we have a couple of people saying, hey, you're taunting us down here in Florida. No way. I finally got my business big enough to be able to invest into a little bit of vacation time like this. Praise the Lord. And I wouldn't ask for a better spot. But I also can't wait to get back home. We're actually onboarding pretty rapidly with Element as we speak. And we're really, really excited about seeing where we can take this thing in 2024 and beyond. So shout out to all of you guys that are making the investment to be on the webinar today as well. I don't know how I can even add value when you got the man, the myth, the legend on here, Mark Bradley. So I'll do my best to probably just echo what he talked about. But I think the biggest thing that really opened up my eyes for an enclosed trailer a long time ago, and you had just hit on that, Mark, was just having a rolling billboard, going down the road. And we're a heavy maintenance business, so a lot of residential mowing and commercial mowing. And, it's funny, people always ask, how do you get 10, 20, 30, 50 lawns in the same subdivision? And yes, it's SEO, and yes, it's a good website, and yes, it's good postcard marketing, and all the above, of course. But I don't think anything is going to beat that rolling billboard going down the road, which is your enclosed trailer. And it's an investment, no doubt about it. But it's something that I guarantee you has been one of the best things that have paid dividends for us in terms of growth, in terms of route density, because you get into a new subdivision. You get one lawn, then 3 lawns, then 5 lawns. And over time, that compounds. Like, I love what you just said, Mark. You become the authority figure in that subdivision because that trailer is parked, in there all day. And quite often we have folks that leave at 7:30 in the morning when we show up and we start mowing the first lawn, and they come back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've mowed 40 lawns in that subdivision, including the HOA. And we're now parked on the other side of the property. And, we're there when people leave for work, and we're there when they come home. And frankly, that's a tremendous way to have some great productivity and efficiency, as you guys can imagine. We're in a subdivision mowing 30, 40 lawns a day at $40, $50 a cut. And then you pick up the HOA, another $500 for the property. You can start pulling in some serious revenue. And so sometimes I get people that scoff at a $1,500 for decals or $4,000 for a trailer wrap. And I think to myself, hey, just connect the dots, put some pen to paper. Let's see where this investment was really going to pay off. And that's just a marketing and advertising. That's not even efficiency of having everything with you. I always joke. One that my wife actually came up with this one. She was complaining at me because I didn't want to buy her some of these like nicer luxury purses, And I said, $1,000 for a purse. I said, you're out of your mind. And she said to me, Mark, she goes, well, hey, don't you have a $100,000 man purse going down the road? Because you have everything with you. She goes, why can't I keep everything with me, And that really made me laugh. So since then, I've got every enclosed trailer that I needed, and she's got every bag that she's wanted, right?
That was prime advice. Now, for everybody on here who is struggling to convince their wife that they need a trailer, you just use the inverse, right? That's good advice. I love that.
If it works for you, tell them I said it. If it doesn't work for you, you're on your own. But I love what you said about efficiency. I mean, in our enclosed trailers, we have our hand tools. We can take bagged mulch. Our hedge trimmers are always with us. It's safety, it's security. Frankly, if the guys need a place to use a restroom, and there's a couple different options there. They're a pricey investment, but I've done a couple videos comparing and contrasting. And once you get the cash flow to start investing into an enclosed trailer, I think it's such a no-brainer investment for all the upside. And of course, it's just another tool in the tool belt. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But I will say we love our enclosed trailer. We have another one on order right now, many more in the future. Our brand, SureTrack, there's a lot of great brands out there, Wells Cargo, all these different guys. They actually liked our setup so much that they had a company come over and take photos, and they put it in their trailer catalog for, I think it was 21 and 22. So that was a huge surprise and really, really cool blessing. So, hey, if that truck and trailer is going down the road, even if you only have one or two rigs, Mark, it's nice when you go to the gas station and the guy next to you pulls up, just a civilian, and he goes, "Man, I see your guys' rigs all around town." And
yeah, for sure. They
that's
become
the
so recognizable. Yeah, I've had like definitely. I hear a lot of people say, in my town, they think we're on every corner, but I only have two trucks. But you're completely right. It's so visible. It really is the billboard effect for sure.
Yeah, well, that's all I got.
I thought of you to ask on today because when I went to your LAL event, and for anybody here today who's not been to Brian's LAL event, make your way there. It's a fantastic event. I've gone the past 2 years. It's just been outstanding. It's super well run, great people, great speakers, incredible vibe. It's a lot of fun. When I walked up and your stuff was out front, I was so impressed with your trailer, and that stuck in my mind. So when I got thinking about somebody to bring on today to talk trailers, I thought of you right away because it was so well set up inside, and it was so nice to look at on the outside. So anyway,
thank you. Hey, I used to watch all those trailer setup videos on YouTube, and it's such a fun resource out there. Everybody takes so much pride in their equipment and their rig. If you guys haven't filmed one to put on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, I highly encourage you guys to do it. Whether it's peer-to-peer and you're just showing off your stuff, or even as an advertising strategy for your business to let your customers know, like, hey, this is what's going to be showing up at your house. Let this go to work for you. I think that's a tremendous value add. A lot of people just try to keep it secret, and I'm like, hey, show off what you got, be proud. And I think there's a lot of value opportunity there, Mark.
I'm getting a few questions in the chat, people asking where they could maybe see some of the pictures and videos you're talking about, just for some people that may not be familiar with your channel. Maybe you could share that with the group here.
Yeah, we're on YouTube at Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and on Instagram, Brian's Lawn Maintenance as well. We've actually have some teaser, highlight reels or sizzle reels, people will call those. Those are pinned to the top of our Instagram. That way you don't have to scroll a couple hundred, feed posts back. But also type in, 2021, 2022, 2023 trailer setup videos. We should come up on YouTube. But then also, if you maybe are new to any of the content that we're putting out, one, I just want to say thanks for checking us out. But number two, we've got another trailer on order that will be hitting here March 15th, I believe, is my order date, which we're really excited about that. So we'll be taking everybody through a brand new enclosed trailer, Mark. It's an 8.5 by 20, 10K axles. We'll be putting the trailer racks in there. It's got a workbench, the cabinets. It's a top of the line trailer. It's like $21,000. So we're really excited about that. We'll be going through the decaling, with our local graphics company. So we'll be doing this real time. If you guys are maybe just getting started in business the last year or two and you're looking for some creative ideas, I'll show you latest and greatest about what we're putting together in the newest edition for our fleet. So we're really excited, as you can imagine, Mark.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for those of you that haven't checked out Brian's channel, it's amazing. All kinds of great content, lots of good ideas. He's doing so much for the industry. He's literally sharing everything about his business, how he does it, why he does it. and he's really putting himself out there in a way that really is remarkable. So definitely jump in there and give him a follow. I certainly do, and I always find educational and entertaining. You've got the perfect combo there, Brian.
Thank you.
So next up, I'm going to talk through 5S. Hopefully you'll stay on here, Brian. I'll ask you a couple questions, see what your thoughts are as we go here. But 5S is basically this organizational procedure that is tied to the concept of lean. And you've probably heard of lean manufacturing or lean somewhere in your career or your life. Lean is the Toyota methodology to eliminate waste. And so Toyota started their business with this principle. And as you can imagine, they did really well. They're obviously the largest car manufacturer in North America now for a reason. As they grew the business, they deployed this concept of waste elimination throughout the company. And so I really think that covered trailers are a huge delivery mechanism for this 5S procedure in your business. And so as you sort of look at your business, consider what could happen if you deployed 5S in the business. And so 5S is just a system. It's used to organize your shop, your trailers, your office, even your job sites. And what it stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And so very simple, the 5S system. So the reason we do this, it's just going to reduce our time performing the work. It's going to improve our productivity, improve our quality, enhance the company image, and increase profits. All the same reasons we want covered trailers right here in 5S. First off, we want to sort, which means we just want to kind of take everything that's in a trailer, needs to be in a trailer, and sort it all out. Take away anything that's unneeded, things that we're not going to use every day or on a regular basis. Then we're going to want to set them in order, make sure that everything in the trailer has a place, hooks and shelves and drawers. And when we've got everything in order, then we can start to really organize things with labeling. And so here's a picture of some of my trailers. We used to order multiple trailers at a time, and we'd set them all up the same way. And so as I was saying earlier, we'd have the workshop area, we'd have the office area, we'd have all the inventory area. So now you can see the other side of the trailer in this picture. These are all drawers that are filled with screws and nails and light bulbs and irrigation parts and fittings and all the things that we would need on an install crew, so that we don't have to run to Home Depot, 5 or 6 times a week. Because I always say, like, every time we leave the job site, we lose about $500 in potential revenue because we're not building while we're out shopping. And so I want to make sure that my trailers have everything possible in them. Then, in your yard, the same kind of concept. Everything has a place. In your shop, the same kind of thing. Everything has a place. And when you start to label everything and you've kind of got everything nice and tidy, then we've got this shine stage where this is when we can really keep things clean and tidy because everything has a place. It's just so much easier to clean things and keep it that way. Standardize, again, labeling everything, making sure that everything has its place, and then keeping it that way and standardizing it with labels. This really sort of makes this happen on a repetitive basis so that when people take things out of the trailer, they know where to put it when it goes back in. Sustain, this is just the habit. This is us doing it this way every time. And again, covered trailers are incredibly helpful when it comes to getting this sustain piece because everything goes back in the trailer at the end of the day. And if everything's labeled, it's got its place. And so this 5S system is a game changer in the business because it just brings a standard way of doing things into the business day to day. And this has been a big game changer for me over the years in my business. And I really like sharing the value of these as we go. Brian, are you still there?
Yep, still here, brother.
All right. In your experience, how important is the labeling part in the trailers? I just wanted to kind of get your feedback there.
It's very important. It's something that we're always continuously working on. We try to about every week or two have a cleanup of the trailer. Admittedly, things get tossed around, as you guys can probably relate out there, especially in the spring rush. You're just trying to get as much work done as possible, but cleaning up is vital. One, it just improves efficiency, productivity. Nobody likes to work in a messy trailer or a messy company, for crying out loud. But number two, it's a huge safety thing too. You have to know where your fire extinguishers are, your first aid kits. You want to know where extra safety glasses or gloves, where those are at. And my wife bought one of those like label makers. You get them on Amazon for $20.
Yeah.
And it sounds weird, but like that's something that she contributes into the business. It was one little nuance, but it's something that she loved to do. But again, it's a great thing to, at a glance, maybe you have a foreman or somebody who's in charge of a mechanic or a maintenance guy or somebody who's responsible for doing inventory on your trailers on a Monday or on a Friday or even at the end of the day. And that's something where everybody has that system. Everybody knows where everything goes. You have your fresh lawnmower blades over here. Maybe take some blades with you. You have your two-stroke oils. You have your, mixed gas or something like that. Everything should have a spot. So I love those photos that you were sharing earlier there, Mark. I was actually doing some screenshots. That's why I turned my microphone off. But yeah, I think just nobody wants to work in a messy environment. Everybody wants everything tidied up. Everything has a place to go. I've seen some guys even get as crazy, Mark, where they, take a black Sharpie and they highlight around a tool. And, so you got that silhouette on the landscape, wall. So you guys can have as much fun as you want with it, be as creative as you want with it. I'm learning every single day. That's why I enjoy watching, on social media, people's trailer and equipment setups. I've seen guys have picnic tables where they'll slide those out with some folding chairs and have lunch on the spot, maybe more prone for landscape, hardscape guys. But to me, organization is everything. And don't let it get away from you if you guys can. Maybe offer somebody an hour or two of overtime, or maybe you have a younger guy on your team who's very excited and passionate about getting some extra hours and cleaning up the trailers on Saturday morning. Maybe you're a Monday through Friday business or a Monday through Thursday. Have somebody come through and tidy that stuff up. It goes a long way to making the company feel and look as presentable and professional as possible. So, yeah, just some quick helpful tips that come to the top of my mind, Mark.
Yeah, amazing. Love that. Good comment here from Jeremiah Jennings as well about box trucks. I know the super lawn trucks are getting incredibly popular. They're an amazing way of doing this as well. So, I mean, we're saying covered trailers, but ultimately that could be a box truck. I mean, depending on the type of work you do, it could even be a Sprinter van, right? It just really depends on what you're doing and what your needs are. But the idea of having everything in a covered trailer or truck, I think, is incredibly valuable for sure. I think we're just about out of time here. We've got 2 more minutes. When you decide, Brian, to invest in these things and you kind of make the decision, is there a way or that you justify it that you'd like to kind of share with the audience? I think sometimes people just struggle to make the commitment to do these things. And I just love to hear your thoughts on how you make that decision.
You're saying making the commitment to invest in an enclosed trailer to grow. Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of comes twofold. One, if you're going from a utility trailer to maybe biting the bullet to going to an enclosed trailer, you have to look at the pros, not just the cons, right? I think the upside outweighs the pros of a utility trailer. And that's literally a YouTube video that I made, enclosed trailer versus utility trailer. And I try to make these helpful 10-minute long resource videos, for folks in the industry. Again, safety, security, rolling billboard, keeping your equipment out of the elements. You don't have to unload or reload every morning or every evening. Usually, you can eat lunch in them, provide some shade, maybe from the elements, rains, some downpours that come through, or even some harsh heat. You just want to take 10 minutes to cool off in July, August. So I think it's sometimes we're emotional driven versus I know you talk about this, Mark, being rational driven and just looking at the numbers. For a trailer that's financed over 3 to 5 years, if you go that route, you're talking $50 to $75 to $100 more a month, maybe than your other trailer that you're talking about. And it's not really that crazy of an investment. For me, I don't just look at it as the equipment purchase though, Mark, for hauling my business around. I look at it as a rolling billboard for building brands. Yeah. And I'm learning a lot more with the Element software as we speak, as we're onboarding. And I would almost look at it as like a twofold. One, it's part of the equipment to get the job done, but I'm sure there's a way to allocate some of this to marketing and sales and really looking at it as something that gets you customers. And like you said, Mark, if we all know that guy around town who's got a utility trailer that's 10 years old, has 4 different colored tires and rims, he's redone all of his wiring and lighting, and you're a brand new Amazon fulfillment center or a hospital or some condo complex around town that's maybe Class A or something and it's higher end. I personally, as a property management company, facilities manager, office manager, I don't personally want that maybe rig coming up to my property because they have an image to maintain as well. For sure. So if you want, I always say like marketing and branding is like the great equalizer. And nobody's really the wiser. Like if you guys are that good at the work, of course you have to be competent. Like that's the ante. But the trailer, the truck setup, I spend a lot of time on that because it is your business card. It is the visual impression of your company, right? Absolutely. Of course, you have to get the work done correctly. But again, which company do you guys want pulling up to your house? Do you want somebody pulling up in their Ford Focus to come fix your air conditioner? Or do you want that Sprinter van that's got the, Sparky's electric or Sparky's HVAC and he's got it all vehicle wrapped? Like this guy's invested pulling up to your house. And for me, I'd rather pay $10 more to have the nice looking rig and setup. To me, as a consumer, even right or wrong, I just believe that guy knows what he's doing. And you have to realize as a business owner, and I hope you realize as a business owner that that's a quality investment that you can make into your company. Excellent.
Great advice. Love that you were able to join me here, especially on such short notice. For the audience, I texted Brian 10 minutes before we started. I'm like, I need somebody on here this week.
My daughter just woke up from a nap, so we were about to, or my son just woke up from a nap, so we're about to head to the beach. Go figure. Yeah. So perfect timing, though. So right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And I'll see you next week down in Orlando at the Summit. I'm excited about that. You're already down there ahead of me. I'm out in Seattle right now, but I'm doing a red-eye Friday night to get down to Florida for a couple of days of sun before we kick off the Summit next week. So excited about next week. If you haven't signed up for the Summit yet, please join us. We're super excited about the lineup we have next week. We're going to have lots of great speakers there. We've got main stage sessions. We've got roundtable discussions in the mornings with table topics that you can sign up for. We've got a big expo with lots of elementers and some other great consultants and peer group facilitators also there. And we're going to have our awards night. So big awards night with big rewards. We've got some incredible prizes, mostly some big trips for people who are leading the industry. So we've got 8 categories there. Hopefully you can make your way down. There's going to be an incredible lineup of speakers with really, really good actionable takeaways for everybody that makes their way. So hope to see you down there. Thanks for joining this week, and we'll see you next time.